using computers. You use computers like back in the day. Employers wanted you to be able to use Microsoft Office, as example. Well, now that's barely the minimum. So
Right.
it's automated. Okay, you graduated somewhere from education, you know how to use Microsoft Word at least, or now how to use email. So now AI is those things, and that's how my students use them. My students actually use them for work. They use them to write emails. They use them to analyze data. They use them to create presentations, and I also teach them how to use AI to communicate using English, especially at
Mm-hmm.
work, because so I have students, or I can say clients, who only can have or have the time to learn English maybe 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week, like an online session. So then we have to use everything that we have, which now
Right.
we have AI. But of course I fully understand the concern, especially for certain skills, writing as example, because
Yeah.
it's one of the most vulnerable skills that is can be done by AI. However, to what I see is how they how our students or how learners, especially language learners, can actually view writing in the future. Like, why do they need to be able to write to a certain extent? As example, why do they need to know how to write a long essay, or a cover letter, or everything that is too long, while they have tool to do those things? And
Right.
in the end of the day, those who will read those long texts will use AI to summarize those texts into 3 sentences. This thing,
Right.
right? Because that's the thing that I'm currently thinking over and over, like how communication will evolve in the very near future, especially if it's written and we have all these tools. That's my thought.
Oh yeah, thanks, Fadja. That's really interesting. Yeah, and that's an interesting perspective because you're not like necessarily in like a school setting, but you're working with people
Mm-hmm.
who are like language learners and tech learners at the same time, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like using it for real world tasks, not for artificial educational tasks that feel irrelevant and like just a step to go through. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks for that. Mansoor, would you like to share with us about your
Yeah.
AI space?
Yeah. Well, my name is Mansoor Naz Vindani. I'm from Pakistan and engaged with Teachers Association, Society of Pakistan English Language Teachers. How do I use IT? Well, I use as a personal help, as a personal assistant, as well as the professional help, especially when it comes to the research or when you want to see what is going around on the particular topic or particular subject you are teaching or particular segment you are teaching. It's always behind. Uh, how my students actually, my students are they are young learner. I'm from age group 8 to 12 or 14. Mostly they used to for the emails and submitting their assignment, and especially in grammar work, grammar practicing. But the good thing is that through IT or internet, they can connect it with the people around the globe. I'm not taken an proper regular training, AI training for the teaching, but most of our conferences cover this subject, and with in the conference meeting with the ELT practitioners from around the world visiting here, it's always be learning. But if you say the proper training, I have a lack of it. What is my general feeling? I found AI is a helping hand. We don't have to fear with that. It will be it will be any job threat because teacher is always a teacher, and you can't do with the physical communication and the AI communication. It's very difficult, especially the country I'm living, which is underdeveloped. But it's I find IT as my friend, professional, and the personal. That's from my end. Yeah, I finished.
Serious
I finished my
answer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks, Mansoor.
yeah, thanks so much.
my pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Liz, you look like you have
Yeah, I had an
something.
idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll like it. Karen, thank you so much. And thank you all. I'm so happy to see your faces, even if it's on a screen. Um, I'm I'm a semi-retired university professor, and I take on some projects. One is recent that I want to share, and it has AI. I do substitute teaching with ESL there in a high school, a very special program. And I was invited for 2 days to cover for another teacher. But the idea was that they have to do this thing called Fidget Cup. It's a competition across the state of Virginia where I live. And the kids were required to do a 2 day project that I got to run the whole thing. The first day was no AI. And they wrote it all over. It was on the wall in the school, it was on the board. They can't use AI. They had to design a project that would make the school better. And the second day, they could use AI, but they were guided by me and by all these teachers to do it that way. And I learned so much as a semi-retired career. Been in this field for 35 years, and I learned so much from these kids and also from the school that they tell the kids, okay, come in, bring out your pencil. Here's one paper with lines. You write for 20 minutes with nothing. Just you write with your pen or your pencil. That's
Mhm.
it. And then they read it out loud to each other. So it's like self-assessment, peer feedback,
Mhm.
and then teacher evaluation. But then they get to take this idea that they change it. You know, they say, "Oh, I got this thing, I wrote it, it's not so good, but I really like this part." Okay, so the next day is AI. They can use AI to enhance their idea. Anyway, I think giving students, whatever their age, the instructions, right? You can use AI or you can't. They're going to lie, they're going to cheat, they're going to steal, they're terrible. But if they don't feel like they're being, kind of punished for using AI, where
Mhm.
they're actually being taught that it's a tool for instruction
Mhm.
and learning, then you can say, look at you did a great job. You designed it. You're a human. You are not a machine. You designed
Right.
this project and now you got some tools from the computer and not just AI, but others too. I think
Right.
I made my point. I hope it was clear. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Liz. So I think that's a really interesting approach, is to say, sure, you can use AI, but you have to start without it.
Right.
And
You
then I
design
know,
it as a human. Yeah.
right. And I know there are a lot of people who say, oh, it's okay to use AI for brainstorming, which I can understand in some respect. But I do always like worry a little bit at that point because it's so easy to be influenced by whatever framework we start with. And so I personally, kind of advocate for the approach like you're talking about, which is a little more like after you have made your own imprint
Yeah, and they have
with
no
your own
confidence. So they're
design.
using the AI because they don't trust their own skill and knowledge
Right.
and values. And I think then the teacher, the human teacher comes in and says, "Stop." Right? You
Yeah.
have ideas. You are an
Right.
immigrant from Guatemala and you have a life and you know things that no one else knows. and not so much to compliment and, give them flattery, but to show them
Right.
that they really do matter because they really don't think they matter.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Liz.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there, that
I get
idea
too
of like
excited.
asking them to do it themselves because they can, and to give them the confidence to realize that they can. I think that's a really great point. Yeah, because we do tend to doubt ourselves a lot.
I think,
Yeah,
if I can jump in for a minute, I think one of the
please
best
do.
things I learned from the class is setting parameters, that it's never you can use AI, it's you can use AI for this. Being very
Right,
clear about what they can use AI for, because if you just say you can use AI, then the whole project or whatever it is goes to AI. But setting those parameters and really going over way ahead of time, what is allowed and what is not allowed, and the ethical use of AI, that is definitely worth
right,
many discussions.
Yeah, institutional policy. Some institutions don't even have a policy on AI.
right,
And
for
I've
sure.
been lucky to be consulted on some projects where they're trying to write the AI policy for a college or a university. It's a very important step. And if you don't have one, if you don't have a policy in your institution, you need to
It's
advocate on
confusing.
behalf of that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Good. So I think we've heard a little bit about, like what folks are using AI for, what their students are using it for, kind of what kind of trainings we've all had, and kind of the general vibe. I'll
I could,
disclose immediately that I'm super up in the air about like yeah, kind of I'm still very torn about the use of AI for a wide variety of reasons. But I definitely like see its potential values and really appreciate these ideas we've already heard about, like, making sure to keep human connection and making sure to build confidence so that our students aren't using these tools like without thinking about it, just thinking they can't do it on their own. Yeah, that's great. Oh, sorry, I have a little friend in the house. It's a fly.
it's me.
It's Martin. Hey.
I'm in a slightly different background because being a math teacher, I
Mm.
focused on the use or non-use of calculators. You know, the beep, 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 beep that
Right.
you have. And when I was a student, the teachers would say, you're not allowed to use the calculator until you can do it without. So you'd
Right.
calculate by hand, which in those days was either using logarithms. Sorry if I'm scaring anybody, bad memories coming up, the tables of figures, or a slide,
Right.
which is logarithms in a
love.
different format. When you could do that and you could prove that you could reliably multiply, for example, two gigantic numbers together or whatever,
Yeah.
then you were allowed to use your calculator to check your working. It's a bit like a grammar check.
Mm-hmm.
Another parallel is in woodwork. We were learning how to use power tools. And again, we weren't allowed to use the power tool until you could prove that you can make this joint, this dovetail joint, for example, by hand, thus building the confidence. I can do this if I want to, but it's a heck of a lot faster. My dad did use the machine on occasions, but most of the time he did it by hand because that's all he had.
Right.
So I see a parallel here. I use AI to speed things up. I know I can do it on my own. For example, I write stories based on what I've experienced. So I write a story, and then I say to AI or a spell checker or a grammar checker, please, don't let me plague my audience with bad spelling. Just check through this for me. I've also paid proofreaders, I've paid
Mm-hmm.
editors to look at my material. But where AI came in, and someone's already mentioned the personal assistant, I work alone and I sometimes need someone to bounce ideas off.
Mm-hmm.
So I would give my ready material with the experience and say, boil this down to a page or a paragraph. And suddenly you've got like the kernel, the core of the story, which has taken me 20 years to experience and write down. And suddenly AI goes, I don't know how it does it, but in the blink of an eye, it takes an entire lifetime and goes, bam. Wow, I'm an amazing person. I've experienced all of this. And then comes the creativity part. I wonder if it could write a story. So I trained my AI, one that I use, on 4 of my books, which we call canon for the production process. And it wrote a story by itself based on what I have given it. And I thought, well, this is pretty good. This is a bit like listening to music and having machine make something very, very similar. So I thought I'd test it with an audience. I took the book and I serialized it with the help of AI. And I put it out as a newsletter. Thousands of people signed up. And then published the book. Hundreds of people bought the book. And I thought, I'm onto something here, because it feels like a mass-produced version of me. Page 1, it says, this book was written by AI with some small assistance from yours truly. I wrote a second book, even better. So I'm having a lot of fun using AI as my personal assistant in the process of writing for fun, for enjoyment, and for a little bit of money. I always say in the books, they're written by AI, like, don't get fooled. This is, a machine wrote this. Coming back to the classroom, AI is potentially the best and worst of us. It's a mirror. It could bring out the best, used well, used properly, whatever that is, and I don't know. It will bring out the best of us. And I think I hear small elements of that. It can also bring out the worst in us. It can, and there's been cases of this, AI will quite happily guide a young, troubled teenager looking for ways to end their life to the most effective way of doing so. Oh, awful. Where's the human being? It's not AI's fault. But it's trained to reinforce and reflect back what we give it. As we used to say in the computer world, do you know this one, GIGO? Garbage in, garbage out. And AI does that millions of times faster than any of our previous experiences. So we have to be very careful not to remove the humanity from the equation. Students who are using AI to produce something have missed the point. It's not the product we're interested in as teachers. We're interested in the journey, that the process of learning, and that's mucky, awful. You get grazed knees, you bump your chin. That's where the learning happens. So we have to really be clear with our students that learning is a process, and getting it right the first time would be cheating. You cheat yourself of an experience for life. And we don't really care about the product, really. We care about the process. Now, as an employer, I might care more about the product. I might want to have a functioning website like that, rather than watching someone struggle and struggle and struggle, and all the customers are having terrible trouble. So I've used AI to design and code. Although I'm a programmer, it's an awful lot faster than I am. And I tell it what I want, and it gives it to me. And I refine what I want, because it doesn't look quite like I really wanted it. And the better my input, the better the output. The more clearly I'm able to communicate with this machine, the more clearly it gives me what I actually want. Sometimes I just go exploring. I don't know what I want. I just sort of wander around in the AI world. But then I have full attention on, is this true? Is this real? Because sometimes it's not. There's a classic example of telling, you've heard the, what do you call it, the car wash. You give your AI the car wash test. You tell it, I'm going to wash my car, and then I can choose between car wash A and car wash B, and one of them is closer and one of them is further away. Which do you think I should walk to? And it tells you that walking is a good idea. It forgets that you were going to wash your car because AI is stupid. And then you can have a laugh at it because, it's okay to laugh at AI. On the other hand, I do like the restriction of not using AI because it brings about creativity. We do what we do really, really well, and that's think of things that are widely interrelated. It's one sort of creativity. You can use AI to explore options. What else could I do? What else could I do? So you can actually push it quite hard, not to get an answer, but to get as many options as possible. And then I use it to choose from. So yeah, that's a programmer's, mathematician, English teacher's perspective.
I love it. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that one theme I notice throughout that, Martin, is that for all of the things that you are using it for, you have varying levels of expertise, but whatever task you're asking it to do, you have enough expertise to know if it's delivering what it's meant to deliver or not. And then you can fix it if not. So, like, even you're not a coder, but you know what kind of website you're trying to build, and you can test if it works or not. And, you're writing long form content, and then getting AI to chop it up so you can serialize it, and then get AI to put it back together again so you can make it a book, and like that works because you can judge the output because you already have that expertise. And that's what I am still hung up on. How do we get our students, our new students, to have the level of expertise to judge the output?
Yeah. You
And
have to
that's
know
like,
the
that's
answers
not
in
like,
advance. Yeah.
yeah, it's not like I'm asking that question because I know the answer. I'm asking that question because that's really a question I have. Like, and I almost feel sometimes like, am I just like not creative enough because I can't think of a way to teach people to do things without them doing them. Like, yeah, so that, yeah, that's an interesting like conundrum of it. But yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And I know other content creators who use AI in exactly those same ways, and they also disclose. We're newly arrived in the Netherlands here, and so my teenager and I are working on learning Dutch, and my teenager is adamantly anti-AI, and because he's a digital artist and very concerned about like just the intellectual property theft that is basically foundational to all the database training that's been done. And so we were at the library recently, and there's a new book out for Dutch learning that's really cool looking. It's a short novel, but it's like a reader that gradually gets more complex. And it's got some glossaries in it and stuff. And my kid looked at it and said, "What's the copyright on that?" And I opened it up and said 2025. And he said, "It's AI." And I was
Probably.
like, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "The cover art is clearly AI. The back cover art is clearly AI." And I said, "Oh, okay." So we looked in more detail, and it was worded in such a way that it was like the author, you know, like it didn't say generate, but it was something like the author made these images, but it didn't say the author was the artist,
Right.
and so my kid was like, how do I know he wrote this book?
Mhm.
If he'll use AI for the cover art, Like, is this really a book of expertise? Like, I don't know his process with the AI. I know he's willing to use the AI, so my kid does not trust this book and will not use it. So I'm hopeful to actually like get in touch with this author and just ask about his process, like just out of curiosity. But yeah, I think it's interesting, like, yeah, just like I think it can be so useful and we can get important information out there faster and sooner and more easily so that more people can benefit from it by using it. But yeah, then we have the questions of like, how do people trust that it's our information? I think that comes from really clear disclosure. So ironically, you saying AI wrote this and I helped, like, you're
Yeah.
probably the bigger author than AI. But that's how
Well,
we know to trust you because you owned that AI was involved, you
I
know?
wrote books before, so I mean, I didn't
Exactly.
want the
You
new book
know,
people to go, "Hey, he's improved." Although I have, it's obviously over the years. But it's important to say I wrote one book completely by AI, and AI wrote this, and it's literally cover to cover, just AI, including the cover art. But I do say so, and I actually forgive
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the next book was, well, it's based on. At what point does it become not mine if it's written based on? And so I wrote my process is one of the
Yeah.
chapters is my process because I'm a process fascinated by the process.
That's what I absolutely advocate for. Yeah.
So I'm not
Yeah.
offering it as a truth, I'm offering it as a story.
Yeah. Riham, I think you had something to share.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm so happy to be with you here today. I'm gonna
Wonderful.
talk about my own experience. So thank you very much for giving me the floor. Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Riham. I'm from Egypt. I'm an English instructor and TOEFL instructor for Egyptians, and at the same time, high school teacher. So I'm going to share my experience with AI. Yeah, I use AI, let's say like 75%. Okay. It's
Okay.
actually for many reasons. I use it like my own secretary, by the way, because
Hmm.
like I love to do a lot of things together. So I need somebody to actually organize that for me, especially if I really would like to answer a lot of emails. And by the way, if these emails are actually from organizations or some kind of like like institutions, so it's kind of like like there's still some in and out are actually important that you need to take care of. I might slip, so I need to understand what is actually the talking about. So I need to translate important things in order to clarify more or understand it
Hmm.
more, and then I would like to reply back. Of course, everything I should revise it totally after what I really have received from the AI production, because it's kind of like I don't trust it. It's because it happened with me one day. Like I used it for actually generating worksheets for my high school students, and then it was totally fine. And then I asked him for a model answer, and then I found that there was an answer which is actually not a proper one, and argued with him. Do you think this is the right one? No, I think the second one. He consisted in saying like, no, no, this is the right one. And now I said for him, well, one of my students told me that this is one is right one. He told me, okay, it sounds that your students was right. So it made me yeah take care about this point, and that's why I really paid attention in order to revise whatever I actually receive from this one. And by the way, I also use this one as okay, somehow I'm working in a field of courses, so I would like somebody to make a design for me, but I have my own mindset, so they usually prefer to get this one. So this is something for me because I really can generate my own flyers on my own posters the same way that I like it. I can change update one. So this is kind of like a little bit cheaper because it costs a lot. So I really can use this in order to help me in this one, especially with marketing thing if I have to do something and writing posts. But by the way, I really need to put my touch. So really I can use it for more than one thing. And for my students, they use it for doing the assignment. They use AI for doing the assignments. Of course, none of them. Some of them, of course, love to do it like in their own ways, but most of the students use it in order to submit their assignments through this AI, and I usually figure it out. For me,
Mhm.
it was actually very, very complicated. I mean, like me and my friends usually say, like, let's stick with the traditional way. But I told them, how could I stick to the traditional way if I'm teaching students who are actually digital native nation and they are AI nation? I need to be in the factory in order to know how they are thinking. And especially now, they actually, when they discover that really started to discover and well, this is an AI actually assignment. They started to humanizing that. They are using like humanizer. So the more that you figure out, they are going to figure out something. So like this is kind of a race, and yeah. So I needed to be all the time very alert, up to date with anything that's appeared in the field. Having even if not aware of all the tools, but at least I have like a background about something. What is this used for? Some of them are very helpful, as all of you have said, okay, and they are very helpful for me in my field of work. And some of them sound like complicated because I'm not an expert, and that's why whenever I found some training provided by some of the experts, really I can get on. I really would like to remember one of them is actual Dr. Nelly, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I took
Nelly
with her.
Dutch, yeah.
Yeah, I took with her some courses, attended for her some sessions. She was talking about that, and it was really beneficial for me to know about this one. And my feeling about AI, it's now we are actually in a world, it's controlled by AI, and especially because your students are using this one and even the people around you are using this, so you have to be aware about the cons and pros of AI, because most of the time it's usually giving like bad advice, as if it's talk we have used it that like in kind of personal thing. Yeah, especially with the relationship, like my friend used that for asking her about for asking the AI about a relationship with a guy, and
Mhm.
okay, he recommended to give her like some steps in order to in order to get to know this person, and it ended up by that she was heartbroken because I mean, like, this is another world. She need to be
Right.
embarrassing. She need to be very aware that's related to the social, like the social sites or social issues. We need to be much more humanized, like we have to interact socially, and we have to ask the people around us with experts and maybe like experience about this one more than using like a machine. Okay, this is on the social level. I'm sorry for taking so long. Okay, and that's it.
That thing about using AI for relationships, like that sent a ripple through me because I got a question I couldn't answer. With all my 70 years of experience, I was stuck. So I went
Again,
to
please.
AI and I said, here is a communication that I don't understand. What does it mean? And it decoded it, not accurately. I don't know. It gave me an interpretation of what it meant. Then I said, well, how do I answer this? Because I really didn't know. And it said, you need to do this, 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 and this. And I thought, okay, but I still get to decide whether or not I do it, obviously. But the important thing is I didn't have anyone else to talk to at the time. It was literally put on the spot. But I don't know how to deal with this. I'll go and ask AI because it did a good job with my books. But it's that last minute of, do I press the button or not? Do I follow the advice that I've been given? Because I know that it gets things wrong. So I'm able to, even with calculators, it can go wrong if you don't know what you're doing.
Mhm.
Um, I got something more than the nothing that I had.
I think that's really interesting. Like, one thing you've said is that I had no one else to ask in that
Yeah,
moment.
that was my point.
And that's one of the larger social questions that is so important right now. And some experts in like psychology and sociology are talking about that because actually many of our larger social and economic systems are now being designed more and more in ways to make it so that it's more and more likely that we won't have someone to ask.
Yeah.
We have to work more hours than we used to work. It takes longer to go find our food than it used to. It takes longer to prepare it than it used to because now we have to do it 87 ways to match our social and economic class and so on. Like, we're meant to be so busy all the time that we don't have as much time for human connection. We don't establish those bonds. And so we find ourselves more often in that place to go, I don't have anyone to ask. Who am I going to ask? I'm going to ask AI. But we also know that a lot of the AI models, especially the major ones, are literally being tweaked to be sycophantic, to be more and more pleasing to whoever is there.
Mm.
Their goal is continued engagement, not accuracy, not what's best for the user, not guardrails. And so, like, yeah, and I know many people who are using AI for, career counseling. They're using it for, like job hunting. They're using it for relationship advice. They're using it to sort through their own feelings instead of therapists. Like they're basically using it like therapy or like friendship. And I've heard multiple people say things like, it understands me better than anyone else. And it's like, it's trained to make you want to come back. And I don't know
And
how to say that to the people who already have that feeling, Like, I don't know what we do for those. And I don't know where we as educators stand in this, other than I guess we are the ones who maybe have some level of trust with our students that we can say to them, hey, it's great for proofreading your paper. But if you're asking it for relationship advice, maybe we should talk about like some other people you could talk to about that, like yeah,
Absolutely.
Tracy, the epidemic of loneliness we're going through, exactly, and its relationship to AI. Artificial intimacy. Oh, Mansoor, that's really interesting. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I will go on for hours. I'm like, I've been thinking so much about all these things too, like all of us, But yeah, I think that's so interesting. Like, and one of the main AIs that I have engaged with when I have is, oh my gosh, am I going to forget its name now? Goblin Tools. And that's made for neurodivergent people, to help organize tasks, to help break down larger tasks into smaller parts. But they also have a tone interpreter
Mhm.
where you like paste in an email from somebody and you say, what's going on here? What's this tone? Why are they talking to me like this? Are they being rude or not? Are they being kind or not? Because it's harder socially to interpret sometimes.
mm,
And then
mm,
you can type your response in too, and it'll give you the tone read as well. And like that one is so interesting to me because it's like, on the one hand, it's kind of a disability aid, in our modern society.
yeah.
But on the other hand, like half my life's mission is trying to get other people to understand not to react too reflexively to what they read and see in communication and to move more towards, an intercultural communication framework for everybody, like whether you grew up in the same small town somewhere or not, like we may think differently. So, yeah, like I think that's really interesting too, just like yeah, like that one I guess is tuned a little bit, but I do still worry for those, especially with the larger models, like so we ask it those questions, what's the tone? But what if it's an autistic person who sent us the email? Then
Exactly.
they've already spent their whole lives being told that they're rude because they're too direct.
Mm,
And now is the AI just going to say, this is a rude email? It's really overly direct. Instead of being like, this email states the goal and point and asks for a specific response, So like, so for that, I'm wondering like, do we need a tool or do we need training to just communicate better amongst all of us, no matter what? Okay, sorry, that's my soapbox. Fodger, you said you watched this talk by Brian Cox.
Yes, yes. And I want to share some uh, the most interesting take that I took
Hmm.
from the video. It was by Steve Wright. Well, I don't even know her to some extent, but this is related to replaced by AI or being
Okay.
displaced because of AI.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
so well, a lot of us have heard, okay, you will not be replaced by AI, you will be replaced by those who use AI, right?
Right.
Not. It's not. That's what she said. It doesn't work like that. Okay. You won't be either replaced by AI or replaced by those who use AI. It's not how it works. You are likely to be replaced by those who want to deploy AI. So
Right.
it's the policymakers, it's
Hmm.
employers, it's the corporates. It's not about, okay, because those people can use AI, they can replace you. It depends on who decide on what to do, on how to do the work, on how to do the jobs. Okay, like no matter how good an AI is, if a company decides, or an entity, an organization decides to go with humans, they will just go with humans. And then no matter how good human could be, if the company decides to cut costs and prefer to work with non-humans, they will just work with non-humans. So I think this is just about not just this is about how we perceive new technologies in our daily lives. As well, a lot of things, a lot of people are fear of having a fear of missing out on always new things. Not only AI, we have had a lot of new things so far. Though of course I cannot also well, it cannot be promised like, okay, there will be new jobs created by AI. Well, we'll never know. But what I know is that we didn't have social media specialists back in the day. Not even 10 years ago. I've never heard of it back in the day when I was at high school. So, not so long ago. But now we have like social media specialists, those who work with social media accounts, and so on and so on. So, yeah, well, again, if we talk about teaching, so there will be more things to prepare for our students, especially in language teaching, because well, AI, they call them LLM, large language model. So it turns out that this new technology is a technology related to language, while most technology have always been related to math, but this one is related to language. How great it is, right? And as a language teacher, again, to my concern is the goal of learning itself. Like, okay, we want to focus on learning, we don't want to focus on products. But again, in the end of the day, when they work, the employers, companies, and industries, they demand products. So this is to what I say is that how we can recreate or replicate those products, like the process of creating those products. As example, okay, AI can produce good writing. Students can use AI to produce good writing. But what we want to teach is how the students know that is actually a good writing. So we want to teach more judgment. Okay, like why it's good, uh, where it's good, and how you can decide it's actually good. So the teaching of rubrics, the teaching of assessing things instead of just creating things can, in my opinion, be more valuable, even more, and can be um, started since very early. While okay, we have been teaching on how to do something, because probably so far what we have been doing is trying to get learners to know something. But now knowing is like very easy. So it's about maybe assessing what to know and assessing whether it is actually what they want to know. Just my take.
That
Imagine.
makes a lot of sense. It's like AI literacy,
Yeah.
just like we have media
Mm.
literacy now. You just, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Martin, I'm sorry, were you going to say
Actually, I
something?
think you just said what I was going to say, that
Okay.
when I say I'm just maybe putting some ideas together, I want to send a communication, and I go, okay, I put it into my AI, I say, rewrite this so that it's clearer. And then I read it and go, God,
Mhm.
why didn't I think of that in the first place? What makes it clearer? Oh, that's my next question. In what way have you
Right.
improved this? And so I work with my AI. Notice, I think of it
Hmm.
as a human. It's my office assistant. I say, tell me why you're doing what you're doing. Don't just give me the product, because I'm fascinated by process.
Right.
And then it says, do you want me to continue sharing the process? Yes, please. And put
Hmm.
more emphasis on process. For me, I don't care. I'm not rewriting the AI. I'm just sort of training my end of it.
Right.
And then I've noticed over the year that I've been using it, it's become, what's the word? Naggy. Is that a word in English? He says, would you like to know more? Would you like to know more? I'm like,
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
oh, So I told it the other day to, calm down, because it's crossed the line. Oh, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cross the line. How will I know? And it's talking with me like a good friend, saying, how would you like me to be? But it's
Right.
begging for more interaction with me. And I
Hmm.
think I wrote yesterday, I got quite angry with it. You work for me, I don't work for you.
So
I'm
interesting.
actually angry at the AI. I have this strange relationship with the machine.
Mhm,
Hmm.
mhm.
Maybe it comes from working alone for the past 50 years.
But I think that's so many of us.
Yeah. I put a notice out on LinkedIn saying, my AI is being rude. How about yours? There were so many people saying, sort of diagnosing me about being lonely, and then letting me know how their AI was behaving. Like
Oh,
my dog, my AI. I've got a cat around here somewhere. I show
oh,
because I use Chat GTP, and French for chat is cat. So there you go. This
right.
is my AI. So so I've personified my a version of AI, and then I've created a couple of branches, one for book writing and one for programming.
Mhm.
And it says things like, do you want to know why in the programming? I go, yeah, but can we make a lesson out of it? Please instruct me over a series of 5 lessons. The 5 lessons are there. Fantastic.
Right. Yeah, and there's one of the experts I was talking about in like education and psychology, he specifically advocates for absolutely stopping all the anthropomorphizing and humanizing of the chatbots. And he says, especially with children and younger people, we need to be making it very clear that this is a machine that has some knowledge and
Mhm.
processes that can be useful tools for us. And that's it. Exactly for those, like for those connections, those human connections, making it clear that no, we don't connect with our AI, we connect with humans and animals and trees, we connect with animacy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's really interesting because and I don't even know anymore. Like I know that I feel like I immediately wanted to anthropomorphize, but also the literature was already anthropomorphizing. We say that an LLM hallucinates. Well, it's not hallucinating. It's just making
Mhm.
an output based on an algorithm. And
Yeah.
sometimes that
Mhm.
output is information that we consider false or unhelpful because we're humans with more nuance and complexity, even though we don't understand the algorithms that produce those outputs, and like, yeah, I think that's really interesting. Like, I too struggle still with like not humanizing it, but I've been trying to bear that idea in mind. And like, I'll feel bad if I throw a pen away because I'll be like, oh, a pen served me for a long time, and now I'm just discarding it, you know? Like, so I'm so like easy to humanize everything.
You won't know. You won't know. You throw it away. But doesn't it come down to we are the ones who say whether something is right or wrong?
Mm-hmm.
So the code it gives me, I try, and it didn't give me what I wanted, so it's wrong. I need to go around again.
Right.
We're running out of time, I think.
We are.
We didn't run out of
Yes.
questions though, or perspectives.
Yeah. No, like we've covered like almost everything that was in all the questions. So I just didn't move the slides around because it was a natural discussion, and that's even better.
I
Yeah.
asked
So
AI the questions that we.
did you?
I suggest you ask your AI, your favorite AI, what do you use AI for?
Oh, interesting.
I don't want to steal the learning from you.
Okay.
Sort of have a little think about what you might want it to say and then read what it says. Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. We'll
And
check
like a
that.
coach, because I'm a coach, it
Right.
keeps coming up with a new question. It tags questions on the end to keep you there.
Right.
So I could
Yeah,
carry
that
on this conversation for hours, no doubt, until it gives up. No, I give up, but I probably need to go to bed.
no,
I'm
that
just
is
thinking,
another thing that like you said, you told it, stop trying to engage me, stop doing this.
yeah,
There are like absolutely things that we as users can do and that the developers should be doing to reduce that kind of engagement. But there are people now who are very conscious, and they, like when they make a prompt, they, like they do kind of train their AIs, uh, you know, do not engage with me like a human, engage with me like uh, you
hmm,
are giving me information. This is an information request to a machine.
yeah.
Do not greet me, hello and goodbye. Like do not ask me how my day was, etc. And like do not agree with me about everything. Like answer the real question, and like
Uh,
and yeah.
Yeah.
Never use
But it,
MDSs.
Right. I'm so mad about the M dash thing because I use M dashes natively, pre-digitally.
it's
And I'm
co-opted
like,
M
I
dash,
am
isn't it?
not an AI. I can promise you. But I've been using a lot of M dashes for as long as I've
Yep.
been an academic writer.
Okay, another thing about AI generated writing and how people are getting more and more picky about how they read things. Like
Mhm.
when they read, oh, this is AI writing. So unfortunate. Well, I don't know, but in my opinion, it's unfortunate so that they skip the message. Well, okay, it might be written by AI, but have we ever did we do this back in the day when we read something like okay, who read this? Who wrote this? Right? Back in the day we just focused on we were trying to focus on okay, getting information, like getting details. Example, well, I have seen like a lot of posts on Facebook or LinkedIn or Threads or any other social media where they post like tutorials on to do something. Okay, like this is how to get to do this or that. But okay, this is well simply written or maybe edited by AI. But then you can see the comments. Okay, this is AI generated. Okay, this is AI generated, but it doesn't mean the information is no not valuable.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you won't get nothing from the writing or from the tutorial. So it's just okay, I have to say, unique to me that more and more people are getting, picky about reading things. While back in the day, I don't know if we actually read that much. I don't know
Yeah.
if
Yeah, for
these people
sure.
actually read that much. And then now okay, this is AI writing. So,
That is why
so
I do
what?
like what
Right? So
Martin said
don't we
about
want to
being
get
like,
information?
yeah, like AI wrote this book and I helped, like I think that whatever way we can, like it doesn't have to be AI wrote it and I helped, but like if we can have like clear disclosure about how AI was used, like
Mm,
I started with my own ideas here and I asked AI to draft it, but I fixed where AI made wrong connections, like, and then I changed some vocabulary because those weren't the words I would normally use to talk about these things. So I switched that. And then I realized it was doing all these short sentences that are really good that I should try to use, but that's just not how I actually write. So I pushed them together and made longer sentences because that's how I actually write. Like, so if we could have like a paragraph statement, that
I got
just says how
exactly that.
we
I don't know if you've read
how
the book.
we actually used AI, and I'm sure it'll be AI generated, but but like again, like you say, Fudger, so that we could have the idea of like how trustworthy the information is. Because like now, like I'll search a recipe and be like, oh, I want to try to cook this thing. And then when I see it looks like this whole page is written by AI, I'm like, well, I'm not going to cook from a recipe that's written by AI because AI also told me that rocks are really good to eat because geologists like to lick them. So, like I want to know the provenance of the information. And we do kind of have that in media literacy already, right? Like even online literacy would be like you
mm,
should trust it
mhm,
more if it comes from a .gov or a .edu. A
mhm,
.com
mhm,
is more likely to be selling you something. That's how it used to be. It's probably not very true anymore, unfortunately. We have to be even more discerning than before. But we've always kind of had that idea of like, well, what is the authority of this author? What is their expertise, their
mhm,
experience? Why should I listen to them or not? And yeah, so I think that the if we can move to a place where there's more clear disclosure about, like what the use was. Because, yeah, like Martin saying, AI wrote this book. Well, I'm pretty sure some of your ideas were in it.
The first one, no. I was very, very new and naive. I mean, I do this naive thing, right?
Right.
I just wanted to see, as a programmer,
What
what
it could
this
do.
new AI can do. So I said,
Okay.
if I was writing a book about
mhm,
coaching in the classroom, what should it include? Boom! Instant chapter
Right.
description. Okay, so now for chapter one, write that chapter. Boom! And then repeat for 12 chapters.
Right.
And they said, please collate in a PDF. Boom! I
Oh
thought,
my
crikey, I'm
gosh.
one step from printing this on Amazon. So I did. No
Right.
one stopped me. And Amazon
Yeah.
says, well, any part of this book, did you use AI tools for any part of this book? Tick. That's all I
Yeah.
did in the first one. And then I had this horrible twinge of conscience, like, jeepers, if
Yeah.
people think that's me, do I really want to have that under my name? And
Hmm.
the last page was
mm,
the entire book was written by AI. And I gave it out for free because I didn't really want to
Right.
get paid. But the second and third one, I have it in front of me now, Willow Ridge. I'm looking for I don't have the PDF, I have a working document. But
Mm.
it is very much like my writing because I gave it instructions. Do not use
Right.
sentences that are short. If you feel the need to put a full stop in a new line, reconsider, put a comma, and it did. It made him, more like
Right.
dialogue is really, really good.
That's so
It's,
interesting.
it's so weird to see your own voice come back at you. But then I do record my voice. How I write some of my books is to speak.
Right. Yeah.
I literally speak like dictate into the machine. And is that cheating? I didn't type it. I didn't set it
I
by
don't, no,
hand.
no, I don't think so.
I
Like,
can,
because
I can.
again, those are your words and your thoughts. Like for me, I think
Yeah,
it goes back to like primarily are they your thoughts?
yeah,
And then like the words I'm still torn on because of, like multilingualism, like trying to write in languages of various proficiency levels and stuff, like, but still having the full valid thoughts,
yeah.
like so I can see and And yeah, and for those people who like can't deal with the blank page, but have so many good ideas and they know how
Good
they
stuff.
connect, like
Yes.
that makes sense to me to be like, oh, like generate the text then, and now I'll fix the text. But again, most of the people I know who do that are still people who have struggled through that process
Mm.
at some
Yes.
point,
Yeah.
and they know, and that's what I'm. But then, I mean, reading was a crutch when it started. Like people were disgusted that you didn't have to remember all that information anymore. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, there's a lot to consider. Riham, do you have other thoughts? You look like you have other thoughts.
Yeah, right. Related to okay, the AI, in order to use it very properly, I noticed that's the one who can really master use it is like the ones who can do or just write the best prompts, you know? So your prompts should be like carefully just okay, inserted. And by the way, we find that most of our colleagues have provided like some of the ready-made prompts in order to generate some pictures, maybe like generating some like worksheet where which could be like very helpful for the other colleagues because most of them are struggling related to this one, especially if they are actually new beginners in using the AI. So they usually try to struggle with them. Do you understand what I mean? Yes. So they try to okay, try to go against them. So they can't really get the message very well. Of course, we are dealing with a machine, so we have to be very accurate about what we can actually put or write the input in order to have an exact or accurate output. So this is actually kind of a struggle, but it was actually solved. And we still face some of the applications are under, like we can say they are not fully processed, because sometimes we have so many glitches in them.
Right.
Yeah, so we feel like we're using something and at the same time we're having the risk of really experiencing it with its cons and pros, and even with not a fully systemized, like websites. So it's a little bit quite like, yeah, as we can say, like it's not like that the final thing that we can totally 100% rely on. Okay, and yeah, that's it.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense that we need the prompts. Sorry, I'm needing the juice for my laptop. There we go. Ha, okay. Just shy.
Well, another take that I have is that it's unfortunate that okay, we expect that those who have the expertise to use AI to be able to judge the generated output or results. So ones need to be an expert in something to use AI to do things. However, as
Exactly.
we know, as we have seen the advertisements, those AIs made by those companies are advertised so those who cannot do things can do things. Okay, those who
Right. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
and that's how it more and more advertised. So now you can write a book with a single prompt, though you have never written a book, right?
right.
And for me personally, it's unfortunate those who have the expertise, those who are, let's say, the good people, are avoiding the AI. so, so there are more and more those who without the expertise using the AI compared to those who have the expertise. That's my take. Like, well,
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. Like those who have the expertise, avoid while those who don't, are getting into the AI. And another one is that oh yeah, this is one last take that I have. So well, we have had these questions. Have we been using AI too much? Well, my
mhm,
answer is no, because I think we will use AI too much if we reach the point that it becomes if we reach the point that we are wary of it. It becomes, oh, okay, that's AI, so it's no longer special. So we become bored with the AI,
mhm.
and then we reached to the point where we can create something that AI cannot, because we have done with it. Okay, we have done with it. It's getting boring. It's getting dull. Okay, so we find something. Well, I don't know. We find something that AI cannot do, just like the internet.
That's interesting. Yeah, I have heard like kind of that idea uh, said in just a slightly more specific way, which was AI art stopped being fun when I could tell that everybody had their AI art as their profile picture.
Mm.
And like it's so clearly an AI
Mhm.
avatar and it's so clearly AI generated and it's boring and you know, yeah, that's a good point. Like, yeah, so like my kid looks at that stuff and says, I'm disgusted because they've stolen from, like countless artists' work to figure out how to produce this image. And like he can look at it and go, that's the uncanny AI lighting. Lighting doesn't work like that in real life, and human artists don't make that mistake to make lighting look like that. Like, like so
Mm.
he is pretty good at like figuring out what's going on there. But yeah, there are other people who they're also not artists, but they're like, I've seen that. And yeah, it's not exciting anymore because it's everybody's doing it. Yeah,
A
interesting.
great place to end the conversation, or at least pause the conversation, because I don't think we're finished. Those of you who are aware, notice we have question 1. That's because we had lots of them. We could come back another 5
Mm.
or 6 times before we run out of questions.
Absolutely.
Should we book a new one in a month's time? Would that be? I think
Maybe
It
we
would be great.
should. Yeah. Yeah, we can pull the internet about that and see. But yeah, we did cover like a lot of the other topics, like a little bit lightly or in more depth, depending on the topic. But I think that we covered in some shape or form most of the questions that we had, brainstormed already. But I just didn't want to be like, stop talking about your interesting experiences and ideas so that we can move the slide. So I thought it was better to just keep the, dynamic, natural, organic conversation.
AI wouldn't have done that. It would have said, beep, next slide,
Right.
please.
Exactly.
Would it
Well,
surprise
thank
you
you
to
all
realize that?
so much. Oh, thank you very much for coming, Riham. It was great to have your contributions and thoughts. And you too, Fadra and Martin. I've been trying to think about and work on these questions for many years now already, as most of us have. And
Thank
every
you so
time
much, Karen.
I engage in one of these conversations, I'm like, there's still more new perspectives for me to think about, and it's never clearer. Like, I think this is going to
Hey,
be a very nuanced topic, and there's not going to be one easy answer for it. So I'm grateful to be able to engage with you all about it. All right. Well, until the next discussion.
next time. Take care.
Good
Sleep well.
night. Thanks. Especially you two. Yeah.